They're so yelly today. Okay, here's the bell ringer. F of x equals x cubed over x squared minus 25. So let's start with vertical asymptote. What do I set equal to 0 to find the vertical asymptote?
The denominator.
Okay, so I have x squared minus 25. You have two ways you can do this. You can move the 25 over and square root, or you can factor. Let's move the 25 over because we haven't done that very much. So if I have x squared equals 25, how do I undo a squared? And what do we know when we square root 25? What do we get? We get two answers.
You get
5 and negative 5. So you get x equals plus and minus 5.
Oh, wait, definitely should have wrote it like that instead.
What?
I definitely should have wrote it like that instead.
Oh, instead of, well, it didn't matter.
I wrote it in the
If you factored, you would have factored this down to x plus 5, x minus 5, and then set each one equal to 0 and solved. And would have gotten x equals 5 and x equals negative 5. Okay, horizontal asymptote.
There is none because the 3 is bigger than the 2.
Okay, there's no horizontal asymptote. And then your zeros, you're going to set the top part equal to 0, the numerator. So I've got x cubed equals 0, and I'm going to cube root it. So x is equal to 0. So if I was going to graph this, I would know three very important parts of the graph. I would know that x equals 0 is right here. And I would know I'd have vertical asymptotes at 5 and negative 5.
That's all we're doing.
Well, now you're going to learn how to graph. But this, you have to know all this information first. And then basically, what we're learning today is you're just going to plot points. You're going to pick 2 points on this side, 2 points in between, and 2 points on this side, and plug them in and get your y value, and then sketch the graph. So it's not real difficult. They're just kind of long. So go ahead and grab some notes today. So this is 4.2, graphing. Rational equations. So I'm not going to give you all the notes that the book does, but I'm going to give you,
fourth one.
yeah, I'm not going to,
Only the very important ones.
yeah. Yes. To the right, to the left. Okay.
Now, y'all.
So here's everything you have to do, and it doesn't have to be in this order. Obviously, plotting the points, the last thing that we haven't done, needs to come after you do your vertical asymptotes. But it doesn't matter if you do your vertical one or your horizontal one or your zeros first. So I'm just going to give you a list of stuff. You decide what order you want to do it in. So number one, you need to find your vertical asymptote, or vertical asymptotes. You could have more than one. Number two, you need to find your horizontal asymptotes. And what do you suppose number 3 is?
Find zeros.
Find your zeros. Okay, so 1, 2, and 3 we already know how to do. Okay, so 1, 2, and 3 you get done. I don't think I'm going to have you do that. So 1, 2, 3. Okay. Then I want you to sketch these things, kind of like I have periodically when we've done this. I've put in the dotted lines, the zeros, as we go. Then the next thing I want you to do is you are going to make an XY chart. And this might sound weird, but just go with it and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Using 2 X values on each side of the vertical asymptotes. Just write that down and then I'll show you what I mean. And then step 5 is going to be to plot those points and sketch, plot and sketch. Some things you need to know that are important. You never go through a vertical asymptote. So when you have a vertical asymptote drawn in there, you can't cross it. You can't cross that line. There are times that you're going to cross the horizontal asymptote, but the vertical asymptote, you never go through that. Okay, so when you're sketching your lines, know that they kind of block you into an area. So we ready to try one? So really the only thing we knew is 4 and 5. So we'll start off with an easy one. We'll start off with f of x equals 3 over x minus 2. So my vertical asymptote, it's pretty easy to see at this point, would be x equals what? 2. My horizontal asymptote would be y equals 0. And the 0, or the x-intercept, is what?
2, -3.
Nope,
We
that's...
have 0. Nothing.
Nope, it'd be none. Because we don't have an x on the top. When we solve for our x-intercepts or for our zeros, we take the top part and set it equal to 0. In this case, you'd have 3 equals 0, which doesn't tell you anything. So if there's no actual x on the top, then there's no zeros. Okay, so let's sketch these things, because this is what we know. We know that x is going to be equal to 2 is a vertical asymptote. So we won't have, nothing will be equal to 2. We also know that y is 0. I'll draw this in different colors so you can see it. Is the horizontal asymptote. We don't have any x-intercepts. So what was my step 4? When I just gave you? Make an XY chart. So we're going to make an XY chart, and we have to pick 2 numbers on the right side of my vertical asymptote and 2 numbers on the left side of my vertical asymptote. So my vertical asymptote's at 2. We're going to pick the easiest numbers we can. So on the left side, I'm going to pick 1 and 0, because that's on the left side of my, so x is going to be 1 and x is going to be 0. Then what 2 numbers should I pick on the right side?
5.
No, don't make it difficult.
3 and
2.
4.
Okay, 3 and 4. You can't pick 2, because that is a vertical asymptote.
Wait,
And
where
we're-
are you getting those numbers from?
You're just picking them. They can be any number you want, but they have to be, this is the borderline, so it has to be 2 over here and 2 x values over here. But they can be anything you want them to be. I would pick them close to the vertical asymptote.
So it's based on wherever that imaginary line is.
Yep. It's kind of, that's like a fence line for you. So we're going to plug this in. What was my equation? 3 over x minus 2. So I don't have to get exact, like I'm not plotting exactly. I'm just trying to see what the shape of the graph is going to be by looking at these points. So here, when I plug 1 in for my x value, I get 3 over 1 minus 2. 1 minus 2 is -1. So I have 3 over -1, so my y value would be -3.
Wait, what? Don't wait.
I just plugged 1 in. 1 minus 2 is -1, so I have 3 over -1, which is -3. Then I'm going to plug 0 in, and when I plug 0 in, I have 0 minus 2 on the bottom, so that gives me 3 over -2. because 0 minus 2 is negative 2, which is negative 1.5. When I plug in 3 right here, so now I have 3 over 3 minus 2, which is 3 over 1, so that's just 3. And when I plug 4 in, I have 3 over 4 minus 2, which gives me 3 over 2, which is just 1.5.
Oh.
So I'm just plugging into the x value, figuring out what the y value is. So now I'm going to plot these 4 points up here. Doesn't have to be exact. We're not trying to make it perfect. I'm just trying to see what is the shape of the graph. So I have 1, negative 3. So here's 1. Here's negative 3. So I have a point right here. And then I have 0, negative 1.5. So I have 0, negative 1.5. So it's about right here. And remember, asymptotes kind of serve as magnets, where when I graph this, it's just going to get close to the asymptote, but it's not going to cross it.
So then that's our line.
That's the first part. Then let's plot these second two here. So we've got 3, 3. So 3 is right here. 1, 2, 3. And then I've got 4 and 1.5. So here's 4, 1.5. A lot of times they're going to mirror each other like that. And that's the graph. What's a way you could check this? And you're going to have to show all of this work when you do your quest. What's one tool you could have? Starts with C, rhymes with calculator.
Calculator.
Yes, good job. You guys are so advanced. Calculators, you can always type it in the calculator and see if your graph matches what this looks like. But you're still going to have to show me all of this. Okay, so let's try another one. See how fun these are? Okay. Actually, maybe you should try this one all by yourself.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
don't know
think
about
I'm
that.
capable of that.
How many examples are you gonna give us?
3. So this next one I have f of x equals 2x minus 1 over x. I don't think there's anything weird with this one.
I already don't know how to do it.
Oh, stop. You guys try. See how far you can get. And then I'll start working it.
Are these worth a lot of points on this test?
Well, it's like the whole test because it's the whole test.
Uh-oh.
So
Every-
this is what we do. This is gonna be the test.
Yeah, like everything we've done leads up to this. Yeah. Like half of what you have to do to graph is 4.1 and then the second half is 4.2. So to answer your question, yes. It will be all the points.
So would there be a VA if it's just be x equals 0?
Mm-hmm.
0.
Yep.
And if they're the same for the horizontal?
Look at your notes. Look at your notes. Just try. Just try it. You can look back at those notes if you can't remember.
You should have used the notes on the test.
We'll have plenty of time to practice this week.
Yeah, I think I should probably call it out from mine.
Hey, do you think you can help me read my notes?
No.
You don't know.
So if the 0 is half, then you just draw another like. How do you do that? We don't have a 0.
What does it mean?
Then you just still pick 2 points. Like I would go around the 0. Just get as far as you can and then
Is the B higher?
yes. Okay, let's see where we're at, because I feel like I've got people all over the place. I don't want everybody left behind. So, my vertical asymptote
Got it.
is easy. What's my vertical asymptote?
0.
X equals 0. There's no work to be done. We set our denominator equal to 0. My horizontal asymptote would be y equals what? 2.
How'd you
Because
get that?
your exponents are the same, so you use the numbers out in front. So I have a 2 and an over 1. Okay? When the exponents are the same, you use the numbers out front. And then the 0, I take this top part and set it equal to 0. Oops. X minus 1 equals 0. Add 1. So 2x equals 1. So x equals 1/2. So let's plot everything we have here, and then we'll pick our points for our XY chart, which they don't have to be the same. So my vertical asymptote is x equals 0. My horizontal asymptote is y equals 2. There's my asymptotes. And then my 0 is at x is 1/2. So here's where it's going to cross the x-axis.
Oh, so you just put a point. Okay.
So this one, we got to find two. You can use the x value as the x-intercept as one of the 2 points on the either side. So if I'm going to make my XY chart, let's look on the left side of my vertical asymptote. What 2 numbers would you pick on the left side? What kind of 1 and 2? Negative 1 and 2. Negative 1, negative 2. And then on the right side, we already have 1. So I'll let you use that one. So what's another point on the right side?
2.
I would even
1.
easier.
4.
1.
1. Even easier would be to use 1. But you can use 2. Or you can use 3. You can use 4 if you want. I would just probably pick the easiest number to plug in. So if I plug negative 1 in here, I'm just going to move this over a little bit. When I plug negative 1 in, I have 2 times negative 1 minus 1 all over negative 1. And just plug in negative 1 in everywhere I see x. So I have negative 2 minus 1, which is negative 3 over negative 1. So what am I putting for my y value when x is negative 1?
3.
Positive 3. And sometimes if you have points that are all over the place, you'll think, okay, I did something wrong. So be aware of that. If I plug in negative 2, I have 2 times negative 2 minus 1 all over negative 2. So I have negative 4 minus 1 is negative 5 over negative 2. That gives me a positive 2.5. And then everybody plug 1 in if you haven't already, and let's see if we get the same answer.
Negative 3.
Shh. Shh. Shh.
It was easy.
I just want to make sure everybody knows what we're doing. And that's not even right. No, that's not, I know, he did, and it's not even right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so really, shh. You're giving out
I was
wrong
like, wait,
answers.
that's not
I
right.
didn't even look at the problem, I just figured
Yeah, I
you
started
would
to look
get
at
it.
it, I was like, no.
You know, you guys are mean.
Okay, so 2 times 1 is,
2.
minus 1 is,
1.
1 over 1 is,
1.
okay, so let's plot our points. Negative 1, positive 3. So here's negative 1, here's positive 3. And then negative 2, positive 2.5. So that's going to be about right here. So this top part looks like this. It's getting close to your asymptotes. And then I have my 0 on the right side, and then I have the point 1, 1. So this part looks like this. Although I accidentally just hit the asymptote.
You got it wrong.
And that's it.
Talking math, though.
It's not math.
It's not too bad.
I do have one more to math it up, but I'm wondering if I shouldn't let
I
you
just said it's not that bad.
practice that. Well, I mean, we have to see it at some point. You might see one like it on your.
Oh, we got all week.
Let me look at your homework.
You can
Look
just
at you.
make the homework shorter.
Oh,
Well, no, we have to do these. I just don't know whether, I think I can just let you try it and then, oh my gosh, my nose is itchy. Easy, easy, easy. Easy. A little weird. Okay, there's only one that's like it. So I'll let you guys just try it. Here's where you have to math it up, okay? If all the ones I've given you so far, you've only had one vertical asymptote. Just like the bell ringer, we had 2 vertical asymptotes. The only difference is you have your XY chart's going to be bigger because you're going to have 2 on this side, 2 in the middle, and 2 on this side.
So
Okay.
it's not like mathing it up, it's making it long.
It's just, yeah.
I kind of want to see
And-
one of those.
Well, you're going to on your homework. Get ready. Get ready. I want you guys to have time to work, and now we're running out of time. So here are the problems that I want you to try on your own. I want you to use my notebook as your resource. I've worked everything out, and I'm going to have you skip one. I've worked everything out, so you see my work to, what is that? That's how my 14, that's 14.
What?
That is
That's a
14. I don't know what's happening.
That's not it.
Are we gonna do the other examples for?
Probably not. We might use it as a bell ringer.
Okay. Just wondering how much space I should.
Oh no, I've taught you everything. I've taught you everything I can. 22 and then 23. So I took one off. So here I want you to work on this for the remainder of class. What do we have? 5, 10, 15?
25.
17 minutes? Yeah, 17 minutes left. You should have plenty of time to get these 6 problems done and check how you're doing. We'll go over them tomorrow, but if you get stuck, check with my notebook.